one of the things that's such a gift about having you in this role, I think, is that Saul needs to be powerful and charismatic and strong and intimidating, right? And I remember us saying, like, he's a head taller than any man. When he comes into a room, you know he's going to command that room.
You know, the aspects of Saul, he's charismatic. He has a temper that can go off in the blink of an eye. He's really, power has become his drug. Key to your performance that I love, and very few actors can do it, it's when no lines are being spoken. It's in the eyes, you know. There's a fury and a magic and a rich inner life. What's up? I'm Jon, creator of House of David. Heavy is the crown, man. We got a king on the show today. Welcome to Inside the House. It's our chance to welcome you inside the creation of House of David, where you can meet the people that we're working with making the show. Today, myself and my co-showrunner Jon Gunn had an amazing conversation with the king himself, Ali, who plays Saul in House of David, a wonderful, wonderful friend, an incredible actor. He shares his journey emerging as an actor and his take on playing one of the most famous kings of all time. Check it out. People don't think about this, but the energy someone brings to set or the energy someone brings to work is so important.
Of course.
And you bring an energy like I can't wait to and it's a wonderful group of people. I mean, I love the team. We were talking that between seasons, all I wanted to do was come back. But you know, when I think of you, I think of your laugh, I think of your energy and kind of the spirit you bring into the room. Where does that? It's like this absolute positivity and fun. Where does that come from? Have you always been that way? Have you
always that way? Because I enjoy what I'm doing and I love what I'm doing, and especially with materials sometimes like really deep. Mm-hmm. So you need to release some additional energy or just like to be. When the time comes in front of the camera, so you're totally like empty with additional extra movement or extra energy, so you will be like precise somehow. But this is how I work. I like to enjoy every details of the project, especially when I'm really attached to it. So I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think people don't realize how much just to be able to relax is the key to performance if you're really good. And I like what Clint Eastwood says, you know, take the work seriously, but not yourself seriously. Exactly. And so you're in one part completely dedicated to the material.
I think you got that backwards.
And the other part,
I just realized that.
One of the most fun people to work with I've ever. So you can do both. You can be dedicated to your craft and also a relaxing, fun, oriented person. I think people don't realize that.
It's playing, you know. We have to enjoy it. If we're not enjoying it, so then like I'm just like an employee. Like I'm not. Mm-hmm.
It's so true. And like what we have to do on set is it can be so repetitive. Like, you know, as an actor, as a performer, as an ensemble, you do the same thing over and over and over again. So all the ways in which you can find real life on the set, in the process, in the relationships. And I love that when we have a really great family of people, cast members on this show that I feel like keep the life, you know, on and off camera. And you feel it when you're on camera because the relationships are real too.
Way back when I worked for ESPN, I had a director. I was a cameraman and I was a teenager. And I had a director that said, named John McDonough, that said, we have to have fun because the audience is going to know whether or not we're having fun.
Yeah.
We really do have fun on this show, and there's a lot of joy in how we work together. You know, and I'm very grateful.
And yeah, I think the camera also can feel the vibes of the group, of the people, of the actors, of the even like the energy of the crew behind the camera. You can feel it in this show, I think.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah,
it's amazing group of people. So your journey, you were born in Nazareth.
Yes.
And what was it like growing up in that area of the world? I remember I went to that area of the world first when I was 16 years old, and being from America where everything is so new, I felt just the energy. It was a magical feeling of just the energy of history, so much history.
Yeah.
What was it like? What was your experience growing up in that region in Nazareth?
Well, it was amazing. I wasn't aware of Nazareth as Nazareth, as is, but it's in the north, and it's a very historical city. I grew up there, and then I studied there. I finished my high school there, and then I went to acting school after that. But living there, it's really boring, actually, back then.
Yeah. So was it like a place that you wanted to enter the entertainment industry to kind of escape and explore the world, or was it
Always
one of those?
always like
I
that.
was from a small town in America, Birmingham, Alabama, and it was like, yeah, there's not much there.
Yeah, there was nothing actually there, and always like I dreamed like to go out of the city just to discover the world, and here I am. I'm discovering all the world, everywhere, and but
Do you go
today-
back? Do you go back and visit?
Yeah, of course. I live there. Now I'm living there. So now I really I don't know. It's the age thing. Like you grow up and then you start to appreciate the place that you are in. And today I feel like super attached to this place and to be aware of the history of this place. It's like the stones and the streets and the places, like every single corner you can find a history or a story of something. So,
Yeah, they say in America, 100 years is a long time, and in a place, in the rest of the world, sometimes 100 miles is a long way. And that is sort of America is this vast country, but very new. And you go. I just remember going to some of the ancient sites when I was a teenager and first started dreaming of this project, and just to think about thousands and thousands of years of stories are on top of each other, and it was a magical feeling. I can't really explain what I felt. Fly in my face. So you, I believe it was, correct me if I'm wrong, 2005, you starred in a film that won the Golden Globe for Best Foreign Film and was nominated for an Academy Award. Is that correct?
Yes,
what was that?
correct.
How did that come about? Paradise Now.
Oh my God, this was like my first leading role in a film, which I was rejecting the project because I was doing theater back then.
So you started on the stage?
Yeah, I started in the stage, and I loved the stage theater like so much. And back then, when like it wasn't really developed so much, and I haven't that experience in it to work in front of the camera. I love working with audience, with and this was my first experience as a leading role. And they said like, no, I have a show. I'm doing the show. And they're like, no, I'm not gonna do that.
Nothing will ever happen with that movie.
What? Are you serious? And then like I find a gap, and then we shot it, and then it was a magic. Actually, it was really amazing experience, and I was like lucky to be part of this project, because after this and the whole process actually of shooting this project, it was miracle. And then we were nominated for the Academy, and we won the Golden Globe, which was beyond my dreams. I never like get to dream to reach these places. Like it was really faster than my dreams.
And what? It's amazing. I did you call and apologize to your managers or whoever you told? I don't want to do that movie. I'm a stage actor.
Yes. Like all of them. Like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's funny. So did you? So then you did a lot of films, and you've done iconic both films and television. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer film, television? Have you noticed that there's a difference between the two? Or this is our first foray into television, so
of course there is a difference, but I prefer films. But today is the TV thing, and then I work like in TV also. Sometimes like I work in TV, like our show. The feeling is doing films.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do.
This is what I feel.
You know what?
This is what I feel. I don't feel like I'm doing real
And
TV.
that's how we know how to do things. And I felt like when we started this saying we've never done television, but I think we're just going to treat this as though it's a movie. And we
An
just
8-hour
we're
movie.
shooting a
Yeah,
big movie.
This is my feeling about it, and that's why
It
like
doesn't need to be a difference, right? I mean, we're doing the same thing. We're creating these environments. And
Yeah, some shows like they don't really work as we work in this show.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want to know about that.
Yeah, right. I've heard from a lot of people this isn't how television is done.
So what? And with this role, it was actually as we were looking, Jon, you were the one that I recall that first brought it to our attention. And so, like, what did? Because we were looking for something very different in the role of Saul than I think most people would think. We were looking for the story of kind of a tragic story, a flawed tragic figure, but certainly not a villain, even though that he was inextricably in conflict with David's rise, that he was still a great father, that he was obviously a multi-decade ruler of Israel, and so how did this come about?
Yeah, I remember, the casting was such a big part of this process early on, where we were looking at telling a story like this as authentically as possible, and to have it just to be a complex and honest portrayal of these biblical characters. And so, for me anyway, coming in, it was like, we've got to get the cast right. That was the top priority. And I think early on, as the conversations came up about like who's going to be Saul, when you came up, like I think Courtney Johnson, one of our co-producers, she was like, well, let's look at Ali. And so the moment we put our eyes on you, like that became the goal, was like, let's get Ali, like whatever we have to do. And so, and it didn't take that much convincing, I think, through the process, but like the early stages of it, there's so many characters to cast and there's so many voices speaking into that. And so we just kind of had our sight set on like, we're going to get Ali for this role. And then, you do that thing where you find the person you want and then you have to hope that they also want to do it. And so we were hoping you didn't have some theater to do that was a priority.
I was so lucky, actually.
We were lucky you were doing it in local theater.
What made you say you're definitely in a place in your career where you don't have to say yes to everything, and you can choose what you want to do because of your accolades in both film and television and theater. So what made you say yes to the role? Like, what was interesting about it?
Well, first in between me and myself, like I say, no, I'm not gonna do a biblical story, because all the films I saw about I don't know, Jesus or biblical story, any biblical story, it wasn't made good. It was bad. I said, no, I'm not gonna be part of this another biblical story that really filmed bad. I said, no. And then like I read the script, I said, I want to be part of this. This is something else.
Yeah.
And then I meet you guys, Jon. I said, yes, I'm gonna definitely like be part of this. But
that's really, those things go hand in hand, because I think we felt the same way. We wanted to tell the good version of the story, and part of that is like finding the right actors to portray these characters. And once you start, we've got an incredible cast of very talented actors that just, I think, elevate everything we're doing. And so that was I think we had the same fears in coming into it, that there's a lot of traps and a lot of landmines and a lot of ways you can go wrong telling an epic biblical story like this. So I'm really grateful that you did come in, because I felt like just piece by piece we started bringing credibility to these roles.
Also, exactly. I think the timing. I didn't choose. I think the role. The role chose me. This is how I felt like, because when I received the script and I meet you guys, the role is amazing, and I know nothing. You remember our conversation? I know nothing about this story ever. Like I know just such a great way to come into it. That story, but not deep. And then like I decided really to dive in and to read more, and then like I fell in love with this. And I think the timing also during this day, and all of a sudden like we go back, I don't know, 4,000 years, 3,000 years ago, and then we're not dealing with something really away from us or just so
All
different
the
from us, and
themes.
all of a sudden, like I felt that we are talking about this moment, and it's amazing when I read the script and when I dived in the Bible, and I felt like we are talking about today.
But also
And
just for
it
the
could-
character, it's
Yeah.
you're the idea of a good person that cannot let go of power. That is a reoccurring motif in history. You know, the
Exactly.
idea of what that power, when you're not meant to steward it anymore, does corrupt and corrode of the very good parts of the nature of someone, which is how I wanted to portray Saul. That is a modern. I mean, there's a lot of modern allegory. In
I
that.
totally agree with you. This is
It's
the
also
best.
just a human truth, I think.
Exactly.
You know, like power can corrupt, right? And,
Yeah.
And you can be a good person who holds on too long to something that no longer belongs to them, and you can do bad things.
Yeah.
And both of those things can be true, and that's the humanity,
Exactly.
that's the complexity that I think we
This
really
is
need
the
to find.
arc that we are really can everyone can experience it.
So
And especially like in Rolls' condition, because he started from nothing and he was the least and he was
Yeah.
anointed by God, and all of a sudden he achieved many things, and he built a strong kingdom, and he become really beloved king, and the first king
First
ever.
king.
Yeah. And it's not something for granted. Like when I'm talking about him, I feel like I'm not give him enough of what he deserved, because even like in our story, I feel like we started from the crescendo of the career of his career. We didn't start from
That's right.
early of his life and how he built the kingdom, how he tried like. Anyway, but
prequel series, House of
this-
Saul, prequel series.
Not a bad idea.
But this was like really challenge for me to start it like from not from zero. It's like from 1,000.
Yeah.
And then like to bring all the history with 2 sentences here and
Yeah,
there, like,
right.
and then like to fight for.
But I think
He's
we feel
also-
that so much like right out of the gate, because even though we are starting you at your pinnacle, like I think you feel the love story between Saul and Ahinoam. You feel that the relationship with the family, you know, that you were not royalty when you first fell in love and when you first got married, and so I feel like there's some really lovely moments, you know, even when she's reminding you of what you know. I think when in episode 1,
Yeah, you are the triumphant.
2.
You're the one of the.
yeah, right. You win every battle, and that she reminds you of like, and you're longing for the days when things were simpler, and when
Yeah.
you know, when you had a smaller home and you didn't live in a palace, and those moments are really nice because it does give a foundation of like a real family.
And what
who
you
have-
do with Ahinoam, guys, like this is the best in this show. I have to say, like
She's so
Ahinoam, like barely mentioned in the Bible, like, and you created like amazing character and amazing partner I had. So
She's incredible, and I think that, you know, one of the things I love about dramatizing, what the documentary filmmaker Ken Burns calls emotional archaeology, bringing the story to life, is you realize things, and because you have to dramatize them. And one of the great realizations for me is that Saul was also inextricably linked to David's rise, because he was the king that saw something in David when he says, "I'll go fight this giant," and he let it happen. Like and he defended the choice, which is one of the things I love in our show. So people don't realize that Saul was sort of like
The only
coach
one,
that
yeah.
put the quarterback in
Yes.
for the first time, you
Yes.
know, and he was the only one that really saw something and said, "Go fight him," you know,
Yeah.
and that was its own act of courage you know?
against like everyone as well, like he go against everyone, and he think that this is his choice, but it wasn't him. It was something beyond him that chooses him.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and it's that same anointing that he had for so long. What I just think your portrayal of the character is really interesting and unexpected and multi-layered. So what is your take on the character that you play? Like if you were to describe Saul to someone like you that had no idea really of these stories, as you've created him and as we've created him together, what's your take on the character?
As I said, like for me, Saul, it's the whole journey. Like I can't really describe him in one sentence, but for me is the king that really built a history and try to be really good for his people and to treat them and to give them whatever they need, and he succeed. And all of a sudden he just like lost everything, and this moment like of losing everything, he will fight back. So for me, Saul is the power that refuses like to understand that there is a new generation that should be rising up, or I don't know. I can't like I feel like I'm saying wrong things about him, but in general, I can't describe him in one sentence.
Right,
like
but I think that's the magic of your performance. Is there's so many parts
because
of the
a lot
character.
of upside and down. Like it's really it's a journey of interior struggle and fight and
I really love the one of the things that's such a gift about having you in this role, I think, is that Saul needs to be powerful and charismatic and strong and intimidating, right? And I remember us saying, like, he's a head taller than any man. When he comes into a room, you know he's going to command that room. And I remember one of the first things we shot in episode 2 of season 1, where you came into his spar with Jonathan.
It's one of my favorite scenes.
And I remember because we were on set and we watched you walk in, and you were, you know, just out of having been ill, come out of bed. You're still in almost like a nightgown. But you walked up to the top of the stairs, and we were all like, "Oh, damn, that guy's in charge."
Yeah.
I remember going like, "This is gonna work." But then at the same time, after aggressively and violently beating your son down to teach him a lesson, you know, just as you do as a warrior, you know, to teach your son to be a warrior. There's the strength to that, and there's a tough love to that. The headbutting him and then telling him, like, you'll be ready when the time is right, but until then you just remember that I'm still the king.
Still the king.
And then from that to say, where's your sister? And then to sit with me, call, and have this tender, gentle scene where you share about your love for your wife, and to have both sides of that. There's a vulnerability and a sensitivity to the way you play Saul that I think is so beautiful, and the strength is always there under the surface. And there's moments where you're struggling and you're weak, and you almost seem like a child, right? And so that's a lot of range to have in one character.
It's
that I believe
multi dimensions. Like this is what I like about him. Like to say one sentence about him, like barely I can really describe it, because as you mentioned, like he's really vulnerable. He's really loving his family, and he's strong. He's a fighter. He's everything.
Yeah,
you can see in this man, and his multi-dimension, and that's what I like about him. Is a full of complexity and full of
and charisma too. And he's of course and humor. Like you realize this is a man that could have galvanized this nation. You know, like because of the multifaceted nature of it. In terms of the process of an actor, I've not I've done many jobs in this industry, but all behind the camera. I say, you're on the terrifying side of the camera. You know, I'm on the safe side of the camera. It's your face out there, man. But the job of acting, I find infinitely fascinating.
It is,
and try to set it up where you can win. But are these things that you have to explore within yourself, the aspects of Saul? He's charismatic. He has a temper that can go off in the blink of an eye. He's really, power has become his drug. He is a good father, but and obviously, all of these different aspects of the character, many of which are in conflict with each other. What's your process of portraying them? Are these parts of yourself that you have to explore? Do you just act them out? Like, how do you find these things and portray them with such? Because one of the things that I think is the key to your performance that I love, and very few actors can do it. It's when no lines are being spoken. It's in the eyes. You know, there's a fury and a magic and a rich inner life, you know. And so, what's the process of exploring these aspects of a character? What's that process like for you?
Depends, but the process is the same process in any character can be. It depends, also of the character, what you have to learn or to discover or to research, make a search or so. But I believe as an actor, it's like you use your body and your mental, your brain, your soul, everything. This is my tool, and I feel like you allow yourself to be in a different character shoes and to experience different life. This is how I see it. But of course, I'm always aware that I am in control of this. So each character, sometimes I did a psycho thriller, a psycho killer. And I cannot really harm and like a bug or anything. I can't do that. So I have to be like a scary and a killer. I don't know how to do that. So this is a chance to be a killer. But it's like, for me, I'm allowing myself really to live the character and to feel the character. And I try to go, for me, the script is the most important thing. When I have really good script, it helps me a lot to understand the character more and to bring more from my interpretation for the character. And some characters I need to learn more about it, like this our project. I need to know, because we are talking about a historic character that it was exist 3,000 years ago. So I need to bring the soul of Saul. So at least to bring some historic facts that is there. So I need to understand it, to learn it, and then to put myself on the character shoes. And I'm trying all the time. There's no full time. I am full. I'm fully not aware of my work, or I'm losing control or something. I'm always there controlling. The
good. You did never become a psycho killer. That's good.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Not yet.
Not at all. Not yet. After the show.
There's more work to be done. Sometimes after rap.
What's the I think what people don't understand, especially if you look from the outside in on our business, you might see a premiere, you might see an award, you might see, but these moments are few and far between and very rare. And what's in between is a lot of hard work. And I think it's a Churchill quote, going as he said, from failure to failure with great enthusiasm. This is a hard business.
It is.
Very difficult business. You're traveling all the time, and it's a strange game we play. So what keeps you going in it? Why do you enjoy this business? And what's the magic of it? Because what I've realized is, the further you get into it, it can't really be about the destination. It kind of, the journey has to be the reward to stay in this business for a long time. So what's the allure of it? What do you enjoy about it? And why do you keep doing it?
Well, this is a really good question. When I was I'm number 12 of brothers and sisters, so I was the entertainment at home. So
12, and where were you?
I'm number 12.
You are number 12.
Yeah, number 12 of brothers and sisters. So I was imagine me.
Is that why our numbers are so high on the show? Are they all watching?
Yeah, that's why. My brothers and their
half of the views.
Yes, exactly.
Are Ali's siblings.
My family. So back then, I was the entertainment. There was no internet, no platforms, no Amazon TV, no Wonder Project. So there was Ali, the entertainment at home. So, so I've been acting since I was born. So I'm the entertainment at home. So always I love to perform. I love to do other characters, and it's really amazing, because always you learn a lot, you study a lot, and discover a lot. And you get the chance to be someone else. No one can do that except you as an actor. today I'm a doctor, today I'm a king. Yesterday I was a thief, and tomorrow I will be a psycho killer. So to get the opportunity to be something else in the very short term of life, this is magical.
Yeah.
So and you get to live many lives.
Exactly,
That's interesting.
Exactly, and I totally agree with you. At this stage, like, our job is really hard, especially when you have a family and you are away from your family. Like, you go for months, you don't know where, and you stay away. It's really hard, and but it's worth it. You always like really. I feel like it's in my blood, and I can't imagine myself like doing something else.
So if there was another, you know, a kid in Nazareth today that has a dream of being an actor, what would your advice be? Like, would you say don't do that, or would you say do it? It's going to take longer than you think. Like, what would your advice be to those aspiring?
Yeah, always tell them, if you are talented and you love it in your blood, go for it. But if you want to be famous, don't go for it. It's not about that. I didn't choose to be an actor to be famous. It's not about that. It's in here. Like,
it's intrinsic.
Here. Exactly. Yeah. So this is the big difference, by the way. Because today we are living in a world everybody want to be famous.
Yeah.
It's not about that at all. So it's about really like to feel the fire inside you, and this is what makes you feel alive. That's it. If you feel that fire inside you, so go for it. This is my advice.
And how long did it take before you have the breakout film in 2005? You're on the stage before then, but I think what people, one of the great themes of David, of the story we're telling, and it'll apply to the prequel House of Saul. We got to do that. That's such a great idea. Important right here.
Yes.
Soul of Saul. Yeah. We'll do the Book of Samuel, the Soul of Saul. Oh my gosh. Copyright all these things right now. But one of the great themes, certainly in David's life, but also if you read in Saul's life, is there is a vast distance between the first step in a journey and some of these moments of recognition or moments of when you can make a living. It takes a long time.
It is.
And so how long did it take you, and is that something that just people don't realize, that it takes years and years to develop the craft necessary to make a living and then to break out?
You absolutely right. It's not something for granted, but that's why, like I was telling you, like I was attached to the theater, and in the theater I was making nothing for living. Like I barely can live really, but I love that. I was like really happy to do that, and even like I refused to do films. Like what? So
what is it about because every theater actor I've worked with, or even someone like Kelsey Grammer that's done multi-camera with a show like Frasier, where it's kind of a fusion. There is a live audience. What is the magic of theater as opposed to film, and what can you describe that electricity with the audience?
Yeah, the difference, first of all, as an actor, so you play the thing right now, right here, and you get the feedback right here and right now from the audience, and the audience interact with you. Immediate reaction, you get it and you receive it, and it fills you, and it's like being addicted to adrenaline. You understand? So every night the same show can be different from the show before. So
also you get to live in the moment continuously from beginning to end.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, obviously what we do breaks it up into pieces in a way that I think is actually incredible. Like the magic of theater, having the crowd there, is incredible. But what I think as a fan and as a director and as a viewer, being behind the camera, I'm just so constantly amazed at the ability to live in a moment when we're breaking those moments up so much. You have to do it 6 times in a row, 7 times in a row, do the beginning, then jump to the end, cameras and things moving around in front of you, which is a very different thing than living on stage continuously, right?
Which makes it more difficult, because on stage, like you can do it like you trained before the show for a month or 2 months, whatever. But as long as you are ready, so you can do it from the beginning till the end. But here we are dealing sometimes like with the last scene we start, and then like, what the hell?
If you're not done the earlier scenes to know what happened. Yeah.
Exactly. If you're not doing your homework very well, then you are like, what?
Yeah,
you don't know what you're doing.
What people don't understand is, these characters have arcs where the character will change over the course of a movie or over the course of a series, and those changes are really fundamental. I mean, one of the things that you deal with in season 1 is this ongoing mental torment that begins to really fracture your personality. But that happens over the course of a season. What people don't realize is an actor might be filming, show up on a day and you're filming the end of the movie or the middle of the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you're having to navigate the changes in that arc and in your personality through preparation. But that's hard. It's not like we ever, that I know of, unless possibly you're working with a filmmaker like Terrence Malick, which you have done.
Yes.
We don't film in chronology ever.
Ever. Except for one film, I did it, and it was like, wow.
I think M. Night Shyamalan did it in Unbreakable. Or something.
We're not successful enough.
No. There was a reason for that.
It's really nice when you can do at least important things in order, but the process doesn't usually allow that.
Exactly.
And so you do have to do a lot of work ahead of time, and that's a big part of what we have to do, is to be bearing in mind all the time, where have you come from, where are you going, even if you haven't already shot the thing that you're coming from. And so and that's one of the things that's incredible about a great performance, is that becomes invisible because there is a true shape to it. But I always think it's incredible, though, for what I have so much admiration for actors, because it's not something that I can do, and I'm amazed when I see it, because there's a magic to it on the set. There's a magic to it when you're watching it on the monitor, especially then when you put it together, to just see how there is a seamlessness, an emotional seamlessness to something that was so disparate and broken up when you were shooting it.
How do you tune? Because I want to talk about one scene, but how do you tune out the what I call is your side of the camera is the terrifying side. Everybody's like, I could do that, I could cry, whatever. Well, they're looking at what the camera sees, which is the world that we build. You're looking at 60 crew members and a boom pole and lights, and it's every now and then I walk out to your side and I look back and I'm like, this is terrifying. So how do you find the truth in the moment, which is what we're all after, with all of these distractions around you? I'm always in awe of the performance when it's great, because I'm like, how do you do this? Because people don't understand what the actor's seeing versus what the camera's seeing, and it's completely different.
Yeah, how do you put that out of your mind? And
I don't know. Like, I never thought about it.
Because you're a psychopath?
Because
you're like, oh no, it is scary.
No, I never think about it, because really, like, when we are on set and we are working together and everybody, like, because I don't feel like something disturbing me, because I'm in the moment and I'm working with the character more than to really be busy with all the destruction around. So I almost don't see them, but I am aware of them.
Kind of like a horse racing with blinders.
Not like that. No, I see them, but I'm not really busy with them. I'm not really paying attention to what they are doing, and I'm really focused with a character thing. So I think only one time of like when I switched from theater to cinema, I couldn't really handle that, and I couldn't really. I came from the stage audience, like I perform like that, and then all of a sudden, like, I have to play with the camera, and she have to catch my.
Which is seeing this,
my feelings, not my talking. This is what you were talking about. Like, when you're not talking, like, the camera is catching your thoughts, your feelings. So it took me a bit to understand that this small machine can really go inside there. If you're not there, the camera can really describe it and can see it and can read it.
It's like an inside out.
This is really big difference for me, and until, like, I discovered this is not machine. This is something like X-ray for me.
That's an interesting. Actors, listen up. This is some good stuff. I want to go into one scene. one of the great scenes that I felt, I was very proud of how we dramatized it. It's one of the more famous speeches in the Bible, which is when the prophet Samuel confronts Saul. And so what we felt like is I felt like we do have two great stage actors here, and so we shot it, which is how we shoot a lot of the show. We shot it with a lot of cameras, and I just wanted to try to almost film it as if it were a play, and let you guys do the entire scene. And it was, I just remember the way I felt behind the camera. It was just magic. It was amazing. But talk about, that was your first scene with Stephen Lang.
Yes. Yes.
And I remember him headbutting you and all this stuff. This guy's crazy.
I know.
You know, but what was that scene like? Because it's one of my favorite scenes in the entire series.
I agree with you.
It's one of the, for people that love, you know, the material. It's often used as an illustration, and people that teach the Bible, and so, you know, we were dealing with one of the more famous speeches, and I thought you guys knocked it out of the park. But take me into what was that scene like to portray, and what was that collaboration with Slang like?
Yeah, it was really a wonderful scene in my eyes, and this is one of the scenes that. Of the big twist of Saul's character, and in terms of what happened to him and to his career, and this scene describes it all, you know, and this is the moment when King Saul realized that the seer is not happy with his victory. And what he have done is not a victory, it's against God's will. And all of a sudden, he faced the truth that he's no king anymore. So the whole scene and the whole process, he's coming not to celebrate with him, he's coming to tell him, you're not a king because you didn't do what I asked you to do. And he couldn't understand this. So the whole process of Saul being triumphant, all of a sudden, no, I'm nothing, not anymore. So this is the clash between Saul and Samuel, and I think at this stage, Saul, after the Amalekites, I believe that he started to be arrogant somehow and not really to follow the faith. So that's where Saul really lost everything, because he I remember this scene when he talked with his son about Samuel, and he said, like, I'm God's anointed. Why he's not speaking to me? Why do I need the seer? Like, I don't need another extra how we call it, somebody in between us, like interpreter. Interpreter or something.
Yeah, well, I'm the anointed.
So I'm the anointed one. Yeah. This is the like the top of his arrogance, and when he faces the truth, and when Samuel came to him and show him that you have done something really beyond, and something like really against what I ask you to do and what God needs you to do, and you start to look after your desire, your that you start like to be
you've made it about you.
Exactly.
You know? It's made the story about you.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is the moment for me, the big twist of Saul's life.
That's exactly right.
From being here to being nothing.
Well, what's funny is there's two massive twists in Saul's life, both delivered by the same person, which is Samuel. One is, you're nothing, you're a donkey herder, you're actually a king. And then this same guy, decades later, says, you've gotten arrogant and made the story about you, and God is choosing someone else. And so this great friend and father figure delivers the two most important messages,
one like this
of your
and one
life.
like that.
Yeah. One that sends you up and the other that sends you down. And so that's what's underneath this scene. Like this is a real relationship, and I love the way you guys portrayed it. At the time, there was one time, there's a famous line in the Bible, to obey is better than sacrifice. The way Slaying delivers this, he's like, he grabs your head and he's like digging in your neck and he's headbutting you. And this guy is coming from the school of James Cameron and Avatar. What was that like? Because
you don't want to be that.
I think the makeup department's like, he's bleeding. Is Saul okay? He's like, I think he's fine.
It's real, man.
Yeah, he hit me 2 times. Like, was really hard. Yeah. I think he got.
But you stayed in it because you're a stage actor.
I stayed in it. It was hurting for 2 times, but I handled it.
Stephen Lang, you hurt Ali. You may not know that, but you.
He's like, yeah, I did. I'll do it again.
Yeah, that's Stephen Lang.
By the way, you guys aren't done facing off with each other, the two of you. So there's more to come.
More. Spoiler.
Yeah.
But there was so much of a relationship that you could feel between the two of you, and there's nothing like trying to work really hard on the material. Ultimately, we're adapting great material of itself, and then seeing 2 great actors just portray the scene. And we went through, we don't always do it this way. We went through the entire scene as if it were a stage play over and over again.
Yes, exactly. This is what helps us, I think, to continue.
We do that a lot with this show too. It's the idea is to get the cameras out of the way as much as we can and let you guys live in an environment.
Which I love so much.
Yeah, me too.
Which I love so much.
So last question for me is, what, I remember when Amazon read the scripts and they enjoyed them. I'm like, it's based off a bestseller. I mean, sold 5 million copies. There's something about it. So I like this idea of, that you have 2 deaths. One death is when you die. The other is when the last person speaks your name. So the idea that we're still saying Saul, David, 3,000 years later, and the fact that this book has transcended, because you have such an interesting perspective, because you didn't know much about the story, and then you do. What is your theory on why do these stories transcend? Like, why do these kind of hero's journey stories, like Saul, like David, why do they echo through time the way they do? What about this is so transcendent, I guess?
I think the fact that it was 3,000 years ago, and you feel when you read it, it's actual, still actual until this moment, and the fact of the whole journey of these characters did from nothing, being something, and make something, and still exist and actual for today, and the fact that we are talking about a personal, like inside a human being, it's still actual, and for these days from back then, so that it's actual. Everything is actual. Like why not to talk about it? But the way you deliver it and the way you bring it makes it different.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You understand? So I feel it's accurate and it can touch the people's heart. Even 3,000 years ago, you don't feel like it's 3,000 years ago.
Right.
So the feeling is like we are talking about now, and we are dealing with the same with the same issue, with the same struggle, with the same relationships, like it's father, sons, career. This is my.
It's one of the things that's great about this being the House of David. I think is that it's a story of houses. It's a story of families, and so those relationships are very relatable, regardless of what era it is. Just it's siblings and parents and their kids, and
it's very human. Yeah. And both Saul and David really came from nothing, and they're inextricably linked from each other. And I think that we all want to think that we can rise from nowhere and achieve our dreams and goals. And you've certainly done that as an actor. And we're we're grateful for you being on our show and the life and spirit that you bring to set every day. It's a joy to work with you, sir.
It's joy to work with you both, and I'm so happy to be part of this show, and I'm thank you for giving me this opportunity. I love this show, and I'm so lucky to be here.
Likewise.
Thank you.
I feel the same way, and I cannot wait, no spoilers, to see what the journey of Saul is. And then, the House of Saul, or Soul of Saul, the prequel to House of David coming soon.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Okay, we're going to get back to work. Thanks for being with us today, man.
Habibi.
Thanks, man.
Habibi.
I love it, yes.
Habibi.
Oh my God. I want to try on this crown now.
I don't know, dude. Take it off.
He's the real king. He's the real king.
He said it. It erupts. All right, great.
Thanks, guys.
Incredible.